Hello and welcome to episode 47 of the XboxEra podcast. I'm Sikamikanico and I'm joined, as always, by Shpeshal Ed.
What's going on?
I love it. I love it when you intro like that. And long may it live. And we've also got a very special guest here today, Sean from Forge Labs. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. It's a pleasure to have you on board. It's good to see you. So we're going to be talking about all the usual stuff, but there's going to be obviously a bit of a slant to this episode as we have Sean with us, who started his prolific. Is that a good word to use for your YouTube journey at the moment? You know, started doing some Halo stuff, and that's what I remember you for. And now you're a bit of a Minecraft king nowadays.
Yeah, it's shifted pretty quickly too. Over last year, I just went straight to Minecraft. I guess we'll see how much longer I do that for, but yeah.
Nice. So it's a bit of a weird episode this week as well, because in terms of general gaming news, there's not been a lot going on in the world. I think every Xbox-centric fan is kind of sitting there, drumming their fingers on the table, waiting for any kind of deal announcement closure for the Bethesda piece. I think that's probably been the biggest topic of general conversation, and arguably what we'll probably spend a big old chunk of today's podcast chatting about. But before we dive into that, Nick, you had a bit of a special moment this week. And just for context for the rest of the audience, before we discussed with Sean about having a podcast background, Nick wanted to have a different game up on the background here. Can you tell us what that game is, Nick, and why you wanted to have it up on the screen?
I had originally set up the template and the YouTube thumbnail and everything with Elden Ring, because I finally got my closure on that stupid game. So, yeah, as most of you would know, it was like a year and 3 months ago or something that we brought up Elden Ring, because I'd been told Elden Ring was supposed to be at Microsoft show. It didn't show up, which I copped some shit for. Then it was meant to be at the Game Awards, which it also wasn't there, which I copped even more shit for. And then the other day, there was some murmurs around that there was an Elden Ring trailer floating around.
From a year ago.
And believe it or not, I started getting DMs of people asking, because I think what the report said was that there's an online community that has a copy of the Elden Ring trailer. And straight away, we were the online community that was accused of having it.
Shocking.
So I started getting DMs. From people saying, have you guys seriously got this trailer? I'm like, no, we don't have it. I don't know what this trailer is. And then two of my sources said to me, have you got the trailer? I'm like, I was just about to ask you guys if you have the trailer. And they didn't. So I then DM'd someone who will remain nameless and said, do you have a copy of the trailer? And they said, look, I've seen it. I've seen the whole thing. I said, look, I need closure on this game. I need the loop to end. I need, and they're like, look, I will send you the 6 seconds, the 7 seconds that's floating around. I said, I'll take it. So they sent it to me. I posted it in the Discord first, and everyone in there got very excited. And then I DM'd the person back and said, look, can I put it on Twitter? They're like, yeah, go for it. So I did. I put it on Twitter, and my phone did not survive. It did not. My phone did not survive very long. And it was 1 a.m. here when I posted that. Yeah, my wife wasn't happy.
I think that's got to be your most liked, most retweeted, most commented on tweet ever, right?
Yeah, got a lot of activity that. So I posted that, and I'm glad it's finally over. I don't want to hear about that game ever again.
Well, it's amusing that you managed to leak it.
That's why I had to. I was like, you know what? And don't get me wrong, I am of the belief, like everyone else, that it sucks when a developer's game is shown in a form that it's not meant to be shown and all that. So I'm fully on board with all of that. This was my exception to that rule. Elden Ring had to be my exception. I had to get that closure. I just had to.
Nice.
So yeah, Elden Ring was going to be the background, but maybe that's inappropriate with Sean on.
Yeah. So Let's dive into that. So it's a weird tangent to take, but I wanted to briefly touch on it. Sean, you've been doing YouTube for years. Like, it's got to be over a decade now at this point.
Yeah, I think like 12 years,
Wow.
maybe 13. I started like my first video was uploaded in like 2006 or whatever, but like I didn't really like start doing YouTube consistently until like 2011. And then like there was kind of a gradual ramp. Eventually I started just like really going for it. I think in like 2012, and then kind of kept going full steam since then. And then like 2-3 years ago, maybe now, I started doing it like full time and
Wow.
really ramped it up. So it's been a
it's an interesting journey, right? Because we dabble, but we're lucky. We've got myself, we've got Nick, we've got a whole video team, and a whole writing team, right? So sometimes the writers can write scripts, and then the video team can take the scripts and narrate them, and we can create content that way. And in some ways, that's a lot easier. But for you, you're kind of like a one-man show a lot of the time, right? So you're going to have to juggle everything from investing the time in playing it to writing it to producing it, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of shifted over the years. I originally I thought I was going to make, well, when I made my name Forge Labs, I was going to I foresaw that I would eventually make it like a team-based thing, which is why I chose a name like that. But then I changed my mind like a month later. I'm like, it gets complicated when you have other people involved. It gets more difficult.
Accurate.
I just want to stick, because I was a part of several other like group channels on YouTube, and like every single one I was in, there was at some point some sort of like big disagreement and like stressful situation and stuff. I'm like, I don't want that connected to my own channel, so I'm gonna just keep it solo. And then for the longest time I was doing it alone, but only I think about a year ago now I brought on an editor for my like big videos, and it's been such a help. He's incredible. He does an amazing job editing it. He's done so much for my channel. I truly can't express how valuable he's been. His name's Wisefish, and he's just like, having an editor is the best thing ever. And he's so good at it. Like, we have a really good work dynamic together. I can like, he kind of knows the exact stuff that like I like in the videos and how to edit them the way I like it and stuff like that. And he's just fantastic. And that's been a huge help. And then like, as my channel's grown a bit more now, I'm starting to expand a little bit and like bring other people in certain ways to like help with specific things. And like, but it mostly has been a one person thing. I'm still like, at the end of the day, it's just one guy, myself, like kind of running everything and figuring out what I'm going to do and writing and all that stuff. But I'm starting to like pull some more people in to help out a little bit here and there.
You're muted.
Thank you. You mentioned Forge Labs and that team aspect. I mean, I came onto your channel because I loved to forge Halo maps, and I was very lucky that I think you featured 2 or something of mine over the years, which as a creator of content was a huge like cool moment for me, seeing my map being played by people on YouTube, which was awesome. But was it always the plan to just stick to Halo and Halo content and Forge content? Like, is that the focus of the name, or was it?
Yeah, I don't know. My philosophy has always been with YouTube. This has never changed. To play what I want to play and whatever I'm having fun playing, right? And so for the longest time, it was Halo. I mean, like pretty much since Halo 3, I was playing Halo as my main game. I was forging in all from the time Halo 3 came out to the time Halo Reach came out, forging, playing custom games. Reach to Halo 4, same thing. Halo 4 to, MCC, same thing. And then Halo 5 until like maybe 2018 when I started to kind of, I started working a full-time job doing marketing, and I didn't like it at all. And I really wanted to do YouTube full-time. And like, I did the math on it and I thought about it, and I'm like, I think I could make it work, but I can't do it just off of playing Halo maps. I got to find I got to expand a little bit more. So I started doing like video essays and game reviews, and I started getting a little bit of steam there. And I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying doing this. This is fun. It's fun to like write stuff and like see some more growth than I've seen doing Halo, right? And so that's kind of where I went with it. And like my philosophy is still the same. I'm still doing what I want to do. And it was I mean like the name Forge Labs, it did definitely was inspired by Halo. Like it I mean you can't really deny that, Forge Labs, right?
Yeah.
But my idea, at least with it, was that like Forge, the only people who really are going to pick up on the name Forge and relate it to Halo are people who play Halo, right? Like my now much wider audience has absolutely no idea that it came from Halo, right?
Yeah.
They all call me Forge, which is, I don't know why I say Sean in every video, but
It's Sean Labs, right? That's your surname.
yeah. And so I don't know. I wanted to change it like 2 years ago. I had a manager at the time, and I'm like, hey, I want to change my name to Mustard Sean on my YouTube. I think now's the time to do it, right? And she was like, no, you don't. You've built too much brand recognition. And I'm like, but I think I should do it. I think I should do it. She's like, no, don't. I made a YouTube poll. I'm like, hey, do you guys think I should change my name to Mustard Sean? And like it was like 95% of the people said no, don't do it.
Wow.
No one liked the name. So I'm like, I'll just keep it. I had like 200,000 subscribers, 300,000 subscribers at the time. And they're like, yeah, there's too much growth on it to change it. And I really wish I changed it because now
because now your name is just Forge.
Now my name's Forge Labs.
You're no longer Sean. You are Forge.
Yeah, it just sounds like a group name. That's what I don't like. It just sounds like it's not like an individual. And then like I want. That's why I think in the future I want to like grow my Twitch, like start streaming on Twitch or whatever, and like start making like I own the account Mustard Sean on there, so I don't know. And I also have the channel.
Why Mustard Sean?
I'm so bad at coming up with names, like so bad at it.
Okay.
I
thought maybe there was some kind of significance behind it.
Yeah, no, there's no significance. I'm just bad at coming up with names, and I thought the name Mustard Sean was funny. It's not taken anywhere. I mean, it might start to get taken places, but like it was, I could get it on anywhere. I got it on my like account, my gamer tag got like banned on Xbox, so I had to change it, and then I like changed it to something I didn't like, and then I changed it to Mustard Sean. So that's kind of how that came from. I just thought it was funny. And
well,
bad luck, mate. You're Forge now.
Yeah, no.
The 90s grunge band Forge.
Yeah.
You speak about playing what you want to play. So I guess on that subject, just generally, have you guys actually been playing any relatively new games of late? Anything new this week? Nick, what about you?
No, I'm still playing what I've been playing. Nothing new.
Rocket
I'm
League.
very boring when it comes to that
Warzone.
stuff. Yeah, Rocket League. I'm still playing Ori.
6K 120 or whatever.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed going back to that game. It's so good. Yeah, that's about it. Just the usual stuff. Fortnite got a Xenomorph, which I'm trying not to buy.
What, the aliens, as in that Xenomorph?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ripley's in there with a Xenomorph, and I'm really trying not to buy him.
I think it's just a big advertisement.
We'll see how that goes. Oh, it is. It's so good, though. Seriously, I know Fortnite gets dumped on a lot, but the core game itself, like, ignore all the marketing, ignore all of that. The actual game is solid. Like, the mechanics behind it. I mean, I still hate the building, but the shooting, the movement, all of that, it's still a good game. I know it gets dumped on, but it's a good game.
What about you, Forge?
Yeah.
You've been playing anything? I had to.
I don't really play new games that often, to be honest. I have such a bad, like, I buy a game and I play it for like a day and I'm like, I'm bored. I'm gonna go play my Minecraft or whatever. But I did. I played so much Valheim last week.
Yeah.
That game that just came out on Steam. Like it sold like 1 million copies, and like they're like, oh, we sold 3 million. Then like last time I checked, it sold like 5 million. I sunk like 50 hours into that in a week. It's the first game that's like really held my attention for more than a day, and I've
what
sunk
is that?
that. Oh, it's like a Viking game.
I'm old. I don't know.
It's like a Viking crafting game, but they kind of like changed this. They flipped the script when it comes to crafting and building and survival and stuff. They changed a lot of stuff that you'd normally take for standard. Like you get a pickaxe and you like build your base. They don't give you a pickaxe until you beat the first boss. So you got to really like work for it. And then like the progression in it is really good. It's paced out perfectly. It's got like the best like time to reward cycle. You play just enough that you're like, I got this thing now. And then And you're like, oh, but if I play a little bit more, I'll get this. I'll get it. The first night I played, I got on at like 9 p.m. I got off at like 7 a.m. the next day. And then I did that for like 5 days straight. I couldn't stop playing it. And the cool thing is that like you can play with 10 people. So a bunch of my real life friends, we played together. We like rented a server and we split up into 2 groups. So like 5 of us were at this one base somewhere else and the 5 of us were somewhere else. And we didn't communicate unless we like found each other on the map. And we just jump in each other's like Discord calls occasionally, and we like screw with each other and stuff. And it is so much fun. Like this game is so good. It's such a good game. I truly haven't played a game as good as this in so long. It really really got me.
I did see a couple of my pals picked it up, and they will probably tempt me into it. But you know, I jumped on the Minecraft bandwagon about 4 or 5 weeks ago because I've got an RTX graphics card, and I was like. This could look pretty cool. So
yeah,
and you know, I bought a Realm, and originally, and this is so bad, right? I feel so guilty saying this. I bought it because my son really wanted to play Minecraft with me and my best mate, who he calls his Uncle Tom. So we did it, and we had my little boy in his room, in his Minecraft themed bedroom that we built, which is really cool as well. My mate was on my TV down here on my Xbox One X, my Xbox Series X rather, and I was on my PC. So I built this realm, and I downloaded a bunch of RTX texture packs. I was like, yeah, Minecraft looks awesome now. This is phenomenal, and we're playing it. And I don't know, man. Like I got to a point where I don't have as much free time as I can or I would like to invest, especially with XboxEra and my job. And it was like, I can't invest. But I got into it enough that the point where my son came back in and fucked up all of our stuff, I turned him into a guest only on my own realm. And he came to me, he goes, Dad, I can't enter the realm. I can't open anything. I can't mine anything. I was like, I don't know what's going on there, son. I feel that's so bad, right? It's so bad. I am the worst father in the world. But I logged back in 4 days ago, and my mates, because they came in and originally I was like, hey, come show me Minecraft, show me what it's all about. They jumped in. Man, they've been playing every night. They must have just got the bug again. I was blown away. Like they dug this thing down under this river and then built this big porthole made of glass, so all the fish were there. But then they captured the fish and named them so that they would stay in this aquarium, and then they built bedrooms for everybody and this armor hall and then a farm, and it just exploded. It was insane. And I was kind of like, yeah, this is why I can't keep up with this. Like, I don't know what you got. Oh yeah, we beat the Ender Dragon last week. I was like, oh okay, yeah, whatever. So I don't know. It's a weird one. I've not been able to play anything since I think we last jumped on the podcast. So outside of a little bit of, I actually loaded up Halo 5 Forge again because I kind of got a bug and I had a few ideas. But aside from that, I've barely played anything of late. It's all been work, which is a shame. But yeah,
I wish I could have got into Minecraft.
Yeah, I think
I couldn't get in. I tried and I couldn't. And my kids love it, and they watch the YouTubers and the whole lot. And I for some reason just couldn't get into it. I don't know why. I tried, but
I was the same way. I didn't play it till last year. Like I remember. Yeah. Well, okay. So that's kind of I played it like when everyone else played it back at like when it came out, right? But I didn't play it for more than, it was one of those games I played maybe a week or two and then moved on from. But I remember I was in Orlando for Halo Outpost, and we were talking to I was out at dinner with someone who works at Xbox, and they were talking. They're like, they're like talking about like Halo or talking about Forge and stuff. And he's like, oh, so do you play Minecraft at all? And I'm like, no, I just can't. I can't get into it. I've tried playing Minecraft so many times. Like I just can't, like, it's not for me, even though I love building stuff in games and like I like community creation stuff, and it's just Minecraft. I don't know what it is. It has never gotten me. And then like 4 months later, I started playing it, and that's when I started uploading videos on it, and now I can't get enough of it. Like it really, I don't know. There's just so much to do in it, especially when you start playing with mods and stuff, and like I don't know. It's really cool the just how much it's possible beyond just the building. Like it's pretty much like a whole platform at this point.
It's like a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
creative laboratory, right? I came down one morning and my son was watching someone on YouTube on the main TV in our front room building a black hole, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And like my wife was like, "Are you going to get the kids ready?" I was like, "Yeah, just wait. I need to see how this works. Just bear with me."
I still can't believe someone made a working hard drive
Yeah, there's
in
stuff like
Minecraft.
that. It's incredible.
Yeah,
Like, how does that happen? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I watched it and I'm like, I don't understand. They made a working hard drive. Like, it just unbelievable.
yeah. But it's even watching my son's own creativity. You know, no one's come and told him how to do this stuff. But I
Yeah, I
came
know.
into his bedroom the other day and he'd made this roller coaster thing around his house, which he'd made. And it looked good. You know, I was like, dude, this is really impressive. And his roller coaster went up this mountain and around the world. He's only playing a creative, but still. And I guess that's why things like Minecraft Education Edition and stuff like that take off. But it must be
Yeah.
an enormous boon for you to, A, have found a game that you really, really love, and I guess to make a career out of it, right? Because there is that fear that if you do what you love, eventually you'll find out you don't love it anymore because you have to do it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, do you ever get that sometimes? You load up and you're like, not today.
There's times where I get frustrated for sure. Like when half of like the work for me is getting stuff to work in game. So like when I have an idea for a video, so like that I made a zombie one about like making a zombie apocalypse. And trying to survive for like 100 days in it. And half the work on that one was just getting the game to function because I installed so many mods and I was configuring them and stuff like that.
Wow.
And then I oftentimes build a map for whatever thing I'm doing before I start playing. And I get really frustrated with it, like really, really frustrated because nothing functions. I call it, I go upstairs and I like complain to my girlfriend. I'm like, my Minecraft island isn't working. It's our kind of code word for it. Because the first time I did it, it was like an island. I couldn't get this island to look good. I was generating it. I couldn't get it to look good. I was getting so upset. I'm like, I can't make this island. I can't make this island. And it still happens. I'm like an hour ago, I'm trying to do it, this other one for this future project I'm doing. And like, same thing. I'm getting frustrated over trying to get stuff. So in moments like that, I'm like, why can't it work? Why can't like, it's so I'm not enjoying this right now. I'm not like, but I mean, I really, it's hard for me to find stuff to complain about, right? Like it's really, really difficult. I'm like complaining about like how trees don't look as nice as I would like them to look, or like how a zombie spawning too quickly in my Minecraft map, right? And that's like the extent of my
that's your
complaints.
hardships.
Yeah. So it's tough to get upset about the stuff, like truly, but
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, in news this week, and I think, there, as we said at the beginning, there isn't a huge amount that's gone on in the gaming world, but one other thing came to light, which, again, must have given you, Nick, some particular pleasure, which was an announcement that a game was being given away as part of PlayStation Plus.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Which, again, you advised people of 3 or 4 days before, or a week before. I think it was
a day or two before.
Was it?
Yeah. So I can't remember how I got into the discussion in my DM, but they happened to mention that they know the PlayStation Plus games, and I was like, can I know those? Is that okay? They're like, oh yeah, do you care? I'm like, yeah, man.
You're an
like
Xbox
to know
guy.
those games if I can know them. Well, that's the thing. They just assume I want Xbox stuff, but I'm not fast. I'll take anything. I don't care. So they were like, oh, well, okay. Well, Final Fantasy VII is going to be on PlayStation Plus next month. I'm like, seriously? Like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Can I say that? They're like, yep, go for it. And it went from there. And then a few of the people on Reset confirmed it and all that sort of stuff. But there was a moment of panic there because they announced those games super late.
Yeah.
So I was worried that Final Fantasy VII was being pulled for something else, but no, it
was going to be your new Elden Ring.
Oh, that's what I was worried about. I'm like, God, not again, please,
Fraud.
for the love of
Fraud.
God, not again.
There you go.
But yeah, no, that worked out all right.
Yeah, and I suppose, and this is probably going to be the meatiest bit of discussion, and I guess, Sean, I'm not sure if you would have a horse in this race, but certainly you might have an opinion. As you know, Microsoft recently, just before the Series X launched in September, they announced an intent to acquire Zenimax Media, parent company of Bethesda. There has been a lot of discussion. I just got off the Game On Daily show just before recording this podcast, where that was a point of some very, very deep discussion. And the fundamental thing is that's was due to have closed in the EU. The EU Commission was meant to have voted on it and approved the acquisition for Microsoft on Friday, just gone. And the big topic of conversation is, finally, will Microsoft fully lock these games down to Xbox platforms only? Xbox platforms only being, of course, PC, cloud, so Android, and their consoles. What do you reckon, Sean? Do you think that Microsoft are going to be bullish and lock all this shit down, or are they going to carry on publishing the PlayStation?
I don't know. I it's so hard to say. I maybe.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I mean, my gut tells me, why would they spend that much money if they're not gonna, do that? It's a lot of money to spend if you're not gonna protect it, or like.
That's right.
The idea is you're gonna incentivize people to be on your platform, and what better way to do that than taking something like this, right? But then again, like, I don't know. You can you look at Minecraft again. Always come back to Minecraft. They bought Minecraft, and that's I don't know. Is Minecraft on PlayStation 5? It should be, right? Probably.
Yep.
So
it's on everything.
Right. So then again, I'd maybe they want to make it available for the most amount of people. But my gut tells me that they probably will make all the new games be exclusive to
that's
the
the thing.
platform.
A lot of people bring up Minecraft, but so when did they buy Minecraft? How long ago was that?
2014.
Quite a few years ago now.
2014.
Okay. Game Pass didn't exist until 2017.
2018.
So, was it 2018?
Sea of Thieves was the first game that launched into it, I think.
I thought it was 2017 that Game Pass as a service started.
Oh no, you might be right. Might be just thinking of when Sea of Thieves was the first party game in it. Yeah, you might be right.
And that's the thing. Like, people are saying Xbox exclusive. Bethesda's games, I don't think, will be Xbox exclusive. They're going to be Game Pass platform exclusive. So, if Sony were to allow Game Pass, which, God, that seems highly unlikely, but they did allow EA Play, so you never know. But if Sony were to allow Game Pass onto PlayStation 5, then you would see Bethesda's games on PlayStation 5. Like, Bethesda's games will go where Game Pass goes.
Yeah.
You've got to think of it like Netflix. Netflix is everywhere on every single. Every TV has Netflix. Every device has Netflix. Everything has Netflix. But Netflix don't put their shows anywhere else but Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you got to think about it.
It's interesting. I had some. The person that sowed this doubt shall remain unnamed. You know who you are. But they were making a conversation, and as I was just chatting to the guys on Game On Daily, Asa, he made an interesting point in saying, well, you still make them Game Pass exclusive, and they'll be day one on your platform, but why wouldn't you make the extra $70 or 70% of $70 per copy sold on PlayStation? And
why doesn't PlayStation put their games on Xbox then?
And this is the thing; it's a roundabout argument, right? There is. I agreed with him in that there is a business case for both, right? Because you got to remember, Bethesda's still going to be operating independently, kinda. But are they really going to change everything up and just immediately pull the plug on all of those projects? They're probably going to have PS5 development kits and all that sort of stuff. It's an interesting. It's going to be either way. It's going to be fireworks next week if it happens next week.
Still too many people that have the old school mindset there. Well, like, the world has changed now. We're in a world where everyone wants their own exclusive content. That's what all the streaming was. It's funny how everyone used to bag cable TV because of all the cord cutting. Just go. And back then, because I'm old, and we've still got cable TV, and cable TV in Australia is still very prevalent. And I was telling people back then, cable TV is going to have the last laugh, because what's going to happen is Netflix ain't going to be the only game in town. everyone else is going to come in with a streaming service too. And guess what's happened 5-10 years later? There's a million streaming services out there, and they're all locking their content away. Microsoft said we want to be the Netflix of gaming. You don't do that putting your stuff on other platforms.
Yeah.
You can put your service on other platforms. That's why I said if they allow Game Pass on the PlayStation,
which is
different ball game. Yeah, it's highly
because
unlikely.
it would eat into Sony's and every other third party on Sony's profit margins because so many games come to Game Pass.
But that's the proviso. But it's Microsoft is all in on Game Pass. It makes up part of Satya's wage.
Yes.
So it's they are all in on Game Pass. Satya will do whatever he can to boost Game Pass, which means exclusive content for Game Pass, not necessarily Xbox. Yeah. So if you allow Game Pass, you get those games. It's that simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's fair. I think Asa had a point though. You know, there is regardless of what way of thinking, there is a solid business case either way, and I think the biggest point of interest and of conversation is more what the fan base wants. And I think that's the bigger issue here is Microsoft knows that people like us and people like Colt Eastwood and Jez, Windows Central, Jeff Grubb, maybe not Jeff Grubb, he's a little bit more neutral, but the people that like the Xbox platform want Microsoft to make this exclusive. And you saw when they tried to hike the price of gold, I think Xbox fans are perhaps a little bit more honest in holding Xbox to account when they do crappy things.
Oh, yeah.
The uproar was immediate and very negative. It was like, what are you doing? This is already a terrible service, so you want to charge me double and do nothing to improve it? No, get out of here. And that contingent of fan base is going to be, if it goes the other way and Bethesda carries on as normal and all the games come out, that fan base will be in uproar. And I think that's got to play in some small way some of the decision making. I think, but like Sean said, you don't spend $7.5 billion to keep status quo. Think about it, right? So if all of this was just to get Bethesda's games on Game Pass day one, you can still do that for a fraction of the cost. Just enter into a deal and say, hey, we want your games day one on Game Pass for the next 5 years, 10 years. How much is that going to cost? $1 billion? Yeah.
Like, why spend 7.5?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Why just throw money away?
We've lost Sean's feed. He's USB labs now.
Yeah, coming back.
He's your Elgato's done something.
Yeah. No memory card.
It's an interesting point as well about Minecraft and how it's all on. It's all out on everything, because when Minecraft Dungeons was announced, right? Did you think? And it's an interesting point for you, Sean. One, did you play that and like it for any period of time, or did you kind of do it because you're a Minecraft channel and that's, you know, you play through it to show people it, and then you kind of fell off? But it also came out on everything. So if Minecraft was the exception to the rule, is it more that Mojang as a studio is the exception to the rule because Minecraft is such a beloved platform that it made sense to let Minecraft Dungeons equally be everywhere? Am I making any sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, first of all, I didn't really play it. I mean, like, I played Minecraft because of Minecraft, not because of the, like, it's a different game, right?
Yeah,
so
it's a completely different gameplay style.
Yeah. So, I didn't really pique my radar too much, but, like, yeah, I see what you're saying. That's completely, I don't know, like, they might get the pass because it's so big and, you know, but then again, like, I don't know, Bethesda's huge, right? So will they get the pass? Like,
it's what I mean, and there's a huge subset of fans out there. There's like 90% of Xbox fans think that it's going to be exclusive, and there's another huge group of people that think otherwise, and it's going to be interesting to find out who's right.
Yeah, it's just tough too, because it's like if you have like the best-selling game of all time, right? Sneaking by. If you have like the best-selling game of all time, you might not like be inclined to slash those sales in half, right? Yeah. So,
and that's the point you make. Minecraft would be getting pulled it was already on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Future Bethesda games, like it's not like Microsoft's going to go and pull Doom from PlayStation and pull Skyrim from PS3 and pull that stuff's going to stay.
Well, for sure, yeah.
And Minecraft was also a Microsoft purchase, not an Xbox purchase.
Mm-hmm.
There was always a view to the Minecraft Education Edition and the Minecraft.
That's true. Yeah.
But Minecraft is that exception. It's a little bit different to everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. It's just we're all interested, and it's we've heard some stuff on the rumor mill saying that there's going to be some sort of not event. I think Jeff Grubb used the word event and maybe regretting using that word, but some kind of acknowledgement of the acquisition being closed and finalized, welcoming Bethesda, probably some sort of video thing we've heard, but it's going to be interesting to see how it lands either way. Definitely an intriguing moment to see whether Microsoft are going to be very, very arguably ballsy or perhaps play it safe. I can't wait to see what happens, to be honest with you. And speaking of lots of conjecture and amusing conversation this week, Phil's office shelf has been a subject of much theorizing and fan fiction at this point.
He's backed himself into this corner. He started it. Once he put the Series S in the background of his shelf back when he was in his wife's office.
Which is hilarious to do that, by the way.
Yeah. When he put the Series S there and that was revealed, he set a precedent there. And now it's going to be hard for him to stop. Like, he's in this position now where he either has to keep doing the whole teasing on the shelf thing, or he's got to cut it cold turkey and tell people, look, I'm not going to be teasing stuff on my shelf anymore.
It's like his T-shirts.
He's got to go one way or the other.
It's the T-shirt thing where he wears like hintful T-shirts to what game's being revived next. Like when Battletoads T-shirts were worn, it was like, are you developing a new Battletoads? And then indeed they were. But not only was the Series S hiding in his wife's office in that moment, after the Bethesda interviews and the acquisition was announced back in September, I think Todd Howard, Pete Hines, Phil, and was it Major Nelson? I think did a podcast interview, and in the background of Todd Howard's shelf, there were lots of
Indiana
Jones references, and then obviously a few months later, an Indiana Jones game from Machine Games was announced as being developed. So they've set this.
There was also Star Wars stuff, I think.
Yes, there was.
I think there was also Star Wars stuff on Todd's shelf. Just saying.
But
I don't know
anything. He's just a big fan. But now we've got the latest image of Phil's shelf, and this is where it gets super interesting. So I think the biggest things that were called out on the shelf was a boxed copy of Life is Strange 2, a Nintendo Switch, a
Watch Dogs Legion
Skull King helmet thing. And the Lumens statue from Kojima's studio, interestingly with the Xbox cord wrapped around it, just fueling the fan fiction there. And
also a Sekiro limited edition copy thing, whatever it was, right next to the Watch Dogs Legion thing.
So and
then they're the things that everyone noticed.
Yeah, and then this week, just gone, Microsoft had their Ignite, and they did a Pokemon demo in their VR AR thing, and people started thinking, oh, maybe that's what the Switch was there for, because Switch is linked to Pokemon Nintendo, So now people are looking at other things, and then...
Well, Phil was also in a documentary about Nintendo.
He was, yeah. Yep, that as well. So there are lots of other things on that shelf, and I think, Nick, you dropped something rather cryptic that wasn't cryptic at all on Twitter.
Did I? No, I didn't.
No? Has it been deleted now? Should I just not talk about that
cryptic
tweet?
No, the tweet's still there.
But you don't want me to just mention what it obviously was.
I can neither confirm nor deny what that tweet is about.
But would you say it is referencing an item on Phil's shelf?
I don't know, maybe.
Fair enough.
I can neither confirm nor deny what that tweet is in reference to.
No?
I've left it for everyone else to talk about.
Interesting. Well then, I guess be interesting.
Well, Jeff Grubb said that most of the stuff on that shelf is of significance.
Yeah, I think that the thing that most ring out to me was the Kojima statue.
Yeah, that's where all
not just
the talk
there
is.
next to the big glowing Xbox sign, but it had the cord of Xbox wrapped around its legs. I don't know if that was part of the statue. The photo was obviously low res, but
Okay, well, I mean, look at it this way. It came out recently, didn't it, that Google cancelled
the
Kojima's
rumor
game,
is
or they decided not to go ahead.
with an
Kojima
episodic
has
horror
said,
game thing.
yeah, but I think Kojima has said he wanted to experiment with cloud as well, which is part of the reason there was discussions with Google. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what I read. Who would be next that he could talk to do with experimenting with cloud? He has two other options, Amazon and Microsoft. How likely would it be that he goes to Amazon over Microsoft? Like it's... Look, I mean, safe to say, like if I was a betting man, and I'm not, but if I was a betting man, I would put my chips down on Kojima's next game being with Xbox. If I was a betting man,
be interesting to see.
Which I think would be an interesting result. Look, I personally, the last game he made that I liked was Ground Zeroes, Metal Gear Solid. I'm not a massive Kojima fan. Death Stranding is like, yeah, okay. But if he is making a game with Xbox and it's a successor to PT,
that's
I will be ridiculously excited. Yeah, I will be ridiculously excited because PT was amazing. PT was so good. Yeah. It was so good though. Shit bricks when I played it. Absolutely shit bricks. But man, it's such a good game.
Have either of you played Phasmophobia?
Yes. Yeah. I like that one a lot. Played in VR a bunch.
Yeah, it's horrifically terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
A bit janky, I suppose, but it's part of the charm. But what a unique game idea that is. And that's the kind of stuff that VR is just so super good at, right?
Yeah. Although that was interesting too, because like we were doing the whole like, is there anyone here? I'm scared, like saying the voice commands, right? Thinking that, and then we found out later those weren't in the game.
Really?
They added them later on, or maybe I don't know, because then again, no, it was working. So I don't know. I read something weird. You never know what you're reading online, but like, because when we were playing, we'd pull up the voice box and I'd be like, "Is there anyone in this room?" And then it would talk back to me. It'd say like, "No one's here," right, or whatever, go away or whatever, to react to my voice. But then I saw an article saying that was never like part of the game. But it had to have been. I was picking the thing up and I was talking to it and I was responding. So like I don't know. But that was another game that I got like into this past couple of months. I got really.
They're very cool, unique experiences.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just so clever when it happens. So I mean, other than that, I don't think there has been a huge amount of news or big talk moments in the gaming world this week. It's unusual because sometimes, and Sean, you might have got away with one here, sometimes we've had guests on when there's been so much news that it's turned into a 3.5 hour monster podcast where the guest is at the end of it like, what? Wake me up.
Full on. Yeah.
Although I think one guest was actually responsible for a lot of the talking in that instance. So we do have every time we do a podcast, we do shout out to our patrons on Patreon, as well as on our forums for some community questions. And I know we've got a bunch through, and some of them are focused and directed at you. But Nick, if you wanna do the honors, and we'll read them out, and let's get some.
Do we want to do the patron shout out first?
That's a good point. See, I'm glad you're keeping on the ball. This is what happens when I'm asked to do 2 podcasts in one day. I forget things. I get confused. Of course, before we do that, a big shout out to our Patreons. All of you tier 2s and 3s, the tip jars and the tier 1s, you're all absolutely lovely. But Scarecrow121, Torn Raptor, Naughty and Shadowgasm, Sowing Shade, Blast the Bass, and Keris, you're all lovely, lovely people. Thank you for supporting us in the way that you do. And now I'll let Nick ask some community questions.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so we'll start where we always start with the Patreon. Okay, this question comes from Elden Ring the Goat.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's the name on here. With recent rumblings of an event for March 23rd, which I believe has now been since debunked,
Yeah.
from Xbox, are there any games you would particularly like to see highlighted in the show? Personally, for me, I would love an update on Psychonauts 2, The Ascent, and Tunic. Also, how much does one have to pay to remove Hexa of mod duties? Yeah, he's talking about the Discord there. Yeah, I can remove Hexa. That's fine. Look, it's since been confirmed that there's not going to be a show, or at least Aaron Greenberg has said there's not going to be an event of any kind. Who knows what Aaron's doing anymore these days? But yeah, I mean, look, if they were doing one, Tunic is something I would definitely want to see. Tunic is a game I played in 2018, and I loved it back then, and I can't believe it's not out yet. It's
being
the
developed by
Xbox Zelda
one
game.
guy, though, right?
Yep.
Wow.
There's one guy doing the audio, and then there's the guy developing the game. As far as I'm aware, it's just a very, very, very tiny team. But it's Xbox Zelda, and I love Zelda, so that's why I'm looking forward to it so much. That's the game I want to see more of, Tunic for sure.
What about you, Sean? Any games that you'd love to get some updates on this year that you've seen coming down the pipe that tickle your fancy?
Yeah, my big wish was fulfilled with Blizzard. I was hoping for Burning Crusade Classic from World of Warcraft, and that was announced kind of recently at BlizzCon. I think they did in February. I mean, it leaked ahead of time, so the excitement wasn't as big as it could have been, and everyone knew it was coming. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. Of course, I'm very excited for the Halo Infinite coming out later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, those are two big ones. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can concur with Halo Infinite. I just want it to be, if it's November, if they're going to do the whole 20 years of Halo release, even if it's like falls on a Wednesday or something, I don't care. Just let me know a date so I can get some time booked off and throw myself into that game for a very long period of time. Even if I have to ship my wife and children off somewhere so that I can be alone, or lie and tell her I'm working and I cannot be disturbed, and then book the PTO and just not admit it. I don't know. I'll think of a way to really get some time in with that, but I can't wait to play it when it eventually comes. What else we got?
Next, Torn Raptor says, "Hi guys, ever thought of doing a cosplay, or ever thought of doing cosplay? If so, what have you done? And if not, what would take your fancy?" Did you see what I posted after that?
No.
Oh, you haven't jumped in there and had a look?
No.
I posted a picture of myself in there.
Oh God.
So
okay. Is that Patreon exclusive?
Join the Patreon. It's an exclusive. It's me. I've only technically done 2 cosplays. I always hear that term cosplay, and I just like, isn't that just dressing up in a costume of something?
Yes.
Again, I'm old. I'm just like, isn't that just dressing up like at a fancy dress party or whatever?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I posted a picture of me being Marty from Back to the Future. I've also done Borat. I have been Borat also.
Wow.
That's the closest I've got to cosplay. Even though I just call it dressing up in costume.
I've got to see this.
You guys, anything? Minecraft, Halo, anything?
None.
I have a Master Chief costume. It was bought for me.
A full-on one or like a cloth one?
It's cloth body, but with like a Velcro 2-piece helmet. It's a cheap one, but it was bought for me for a stag do. And I was forced to wear it, and it was cold. I think it was like January, and I wore it, and it has a scarf. There's some photos of me on Facebook somewhere with that on, wandering around the streets in a very poor state. But yeah, that's the closest I've come to dressing up as a video game character. I have to admit, it's not.
Yeah, mine weren't even video games.
Yeah.
I think my son's dressed up as Mario. He's done the cosplay.
Ah, good for him.
Okay, next. Proven. Hey, Sean and XboxEra podcast crew. What, we don't get our names? We're not good
Just
enough?
a crew now.
Jeez, okay. Halo Infinite seems to have the potential to be the best sandbox since Halo 3. What are some things you'd like to see in Infinite in terms of sandbox elements or Forge that you have yet to see in Halo?
Go on. Do you want to try and tackle this one first?
So things I'd like to see in Halo Infinite, like in Forge, that I haven't seen yet. Was that the question?
Yeah. What would you like if you had a wish list?
Sandbox elements,
Sandbox
Forge,
elements or Forge,
or Forge
that we haven't seen.
Yeah, we haven't seen.
Well, it's hard. I don't know. I've liked everything we've seen before. It's hard. I'm not good at coming up with ideas, to be honest. I mean, like a Forge, I can speak to. I would like just more of everything, right? Like I've always been a very vocal advocate for getting fence pieces in Forge, so that's my first.
Fences. I was wondering if it would come up.
Yeah, of course. I would love those. Those would be wonderful. That's like my biggest.
I actually think someone's asked the question about that. Believe it or
not. Yeah, of course they have. I would like terrain editing. Like I don't know. I would like parody with Far Cry does a good editor, and I think that like if you can pull some elements of that would go a really long way. With Halo, in terms of sandbox elements, I've really wanted the option to spawn without a weapon in Halo.
Yeah.
And this is before the whole battle royale thing too, right? Like there's just, I'm coming from a custom game point of view. There's so many things you can do without a weapon, and like it'd be fun to be able to have that, which I don't know. Like there's been ways to do it in the past, but it's been really glitchy, and like you're kind of like frozen in place and you like slide around and stuff. So like, I would like that, and just some stuff like that. I think.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure about sandbox elements. Like everything that we've seen from the Infinite trailer, there seemed to be a bit of an equipment motif with Halo 3 style stuff. Like we saw the grappling hook, the shield thingy that he dropped and it came out and you could shoot through it. All of that's cool, and I loved that Halo 3 era. It's probably my personal favourite Halo game. But, that's why I'm not a game designer. Like, I try and sit and think about, like, what could be cool to add in a sandbox. I guess what I would hope for is less repetition of weapons. Like, okay, you've got an assault rifle, and then you've got a plasma rifle, and they kind of did the same thing for a long while. Like, it's not like the Halo CE days where that plasma rifle used to slow you down, which I thought was a unique part of that gun, and they kind of just got rid of that. So I'd like less redundancy in that sandbox is my biggest want.
I want the CE pistol back.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's.
I know it's not going to happen. I just want that pistol back.
I don't know if I'm a fan of that idea, but I'd also love to see editable water in Forge. Like a lot of my maps, I love water maps. When they released Tidal for Halo 5, it's great because I love having pools of water, especially as like death pits or just as mood pieces. But they were always on the ground floor. You couldn't put one up here and do some cool stuff with it and have waterfalls. And I love water as a kind of element in maps. I think it's nifty and you can do loads of cool things. So I hope they give us at some point in the future something that I can drag and gloop around like it's an object all of its own. But man, I have no idea what it would do from a physics point of view. I don't even know how you would tackle that. Maybe one day. What about you, Nick? Do you have any wants or desires from a...
Like I said, I want the CE pistol back, but that's not going to happen. Look, I love Halo and always have, but I'm not... How do I explain it? I'm not deep into Halo. Like, outside of CE, I don't really know the lore. I've never done Forge in my life. I'm not competitive with it. I just like to play SWAT, and that's all I play. I play nothing but SWAT. Ever since SWAT came into Reach, because SWAT in Halo 2 and 3 sucked. But ever since Halo Reach, I fully got into SWAT, and that is all I have played exclusively with Halo multiplayer since Reach.
You
just
get on
SWAT.
well with Frankie.
SWAT.
Frankie's always in the SWAT.
Oh, yeah, that's why I love Frank, because Frank's like, SWAT's the best. I'm like, SWAT is the best. Like, it's that perfect blending of Halo and COD that 343 has wanted, but still don't realize they already have in multiplayer. Like they tried to blend COD with Halo in Halo 4 in Arena in the main multiplayer, and it went horribly. But they never realized that Halo and COD were already combined with SWAT. It's already there. You don't have to do anything. Don't touch it. It's perfect.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
SWAT's so good.
I think it takes out the fun of being a Spartan with shields, but you do you.
No, I understand
it's fine.
the argument.
It's fine.
Don't get me wrong. I understand the argument for why SWAT isn't Halo or whatever it is that the whiners say. But my thing with SWAT is I personally love the fact that SWAT is all about, if I see you first and shoot you first, you're dead.
Yeah, that's fair. It. That's fair. There's no comeback, kids. Really.
There's no coming back. There's no I like that. I don't like the idea that I can get the jump on someone, unload 4 clips in them, and they just turn around and shoot me and I die.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
See, I love that feeling. You're getting pinged in the back, and you know there's a wall in front of you. You bounce the grenade, so it bounces behind you, and then you turn and get that one nade shot head kill. And it's like, yep.
I don't like it.
Love it.
Especially being from Australia, where post lag and all that sort of stuff is a thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
The more elements that can be introduced that the lag can affect, the worse it is. SWAT takes all that away.
Yeah, okay. That's fair.
Like, it's just...
That's why we see so many Australians in SWAT playlists. So.
Yeah, that's right. I love SWAT. SWAT's so good. Okay, so, here we go. Keris, where's my pipe?
Okay, right. For reference, Keris asks, usually in a somewhat longer-winded way, but always eloquently put, very in-depth questions. So we usually have to strap in for a bit of a story time.
I'm gonna buy myself. I'm gonna buy a prop pipe, and I'm gonna get a robe. and every time Keris asks a question, I'm gonna have the pipe out, and I'm gonna get the robe. Okay. Hello, panel, and hello, Sean. Again. What? We don't get
we're just bystanders.
We don't get names.
This is Sean's show. This belongs to Forge now.
What are we? Chopped liver? And get his name right. It's Forge.
Yes, Forge, please.
His name is Forge. Okay. The rain hit her face like thousands of needles, so hard she had to pull the scarf tight around her neck. She lamented moving to this country with its coldness and lack of salt and vinegar crisps. Wait, shouldn't she be saying chips?
No, I think they say crisps. They say crisps. She's not from America. She lived here in the UK.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we say crisps, man. Salt and vinegar crisps. Yeah. This ain't no chips country. Come on.
That's weird that Australia doesn't align with that. We usually align with you guys on everything. Oh, that's weird. We just say chips here. Anyway, only kidding. I have no appropriate personal story to back up my question, so figured I needed to pad it out. Should contact Sony about that. Since I don't play Halo, aside from the campaign, I know nothing about Forge. Something to do with user-generated content? Could you, panel, and Sean, Forge, in particular explain what Forge is and what it does and does not and should, and why people are so enamored about it? Imagine you're explaining it to a grandmother who needs Minecraft explaining to her. It's one of those things I have heard about here and there, but never heard the elevator pitch to really excite me into looking into it more. Kind of like how Eve seems impenetrable until the one news post that explains why some online fracas is important, please. Keris. P.S. Nick was right.
Okay, wow. Elevator pitch for Forge. Do you want to try and tackle this, Sean, or no pressure? No pressure.
I mean, you can pretty easily summarize Forge. It's map maker map editor turned maker for Halo. Or I guess maybe it needs to be a more simple explanation of that. You can use. It's a tool that comes with Halo that allows you to build maps, which you can then share and play with your friends or the wider community. It's expanded throughout the years. It's gotten better and better, and it acts as a really great way to basically make it so you always have something new to play every time you turn on Halo.
That is a pretty damn good
Hasn't it also
pitch.
expanded beyond that? Like, don't people use it for machinima stuff and for making movies and stuff like that too?
Yeah,
It's gotten crazy. There's so much stuff you can do with it, and like what people are using it for besides just building maps and whatnot.
Yeah.
It started off in Halo 3 as a map. I think you used the word map editor, right? So you could move some spawns around, you could put some crates down, and all this sort of thing. And then they saw what the community was doing with it, and they released the Heroic map pack. Feel free to correct me if I err here. And with that came Foundry, and Foundry was a map entirely made of pieces of forged content, meaning it had no, beyond its set geometry, which was some stairs and a back corridor, everything in this warehouse was a piece of forged content, like a block or a box or a crate of varying sizes. And what they originally envisaged was people just making a variety of warehouse layouts, right? But then the community found that they could put one block on top of another block and then force blocks to kind of glitch together and then let go of them and then delete everything around it, and it would float. And that spawned whole new maps being made. And my biggest claim to fame is the first Forge map in matchmaking, which was Infected Manor. Which was based off of a house map for zombies in Halo 3. And it just spawned from there. That glitch then became a feature in Reach. You could merge content together instead of having to build stuff to force it together. And then in Halo 4, it got its own lighting engine and lots more pieces. And then in Halo 5, it got terrain pieces and all sorts of cool tricks and effects and green screens and all sorts of stuff, so people could do pretty much anything, including scripting. And scripting was complicated, and I still don't understand it, and I never will, and I'm not going to try. I always turn to someone else to script stuff. But you could script events. If this gets destroyed, then this moves or this happens, and people just did some crazy stuff. I think it's because, as you said, it enables you to make whole new worlds, whole new game types based on just an idea that you might have. And that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you always have something new to play every time you turn on the game. People are like making everything. Like everything is available in Forge in some varying degree of how good it is. But there's you virtually will never run out of stuff to play. And that's what drew me to Halo so much before. It's just like I can, at the time, like when COD 4 was, I was like COD 4 or Halo. Okay, I can go play Shipment or whatever, the same maps over and over again, or I can turn on Halo and I can play like anything. 1,000 different maps tonight, right? So I always wanted to go back and do that. It was just like the sense of like exploration and like wonder. It's like, this map's called this. I wonder what it'll be like when I download it and play it with my friends and stuff. Like, so I loved that, and that's kind of what like gripped me for since Halo 3.
And that's interesting, right? Because you used to cruise Forge Hub looking for interesting maps, because for a little while I did a stint on Forge Hub as one of their team, just like doing some videos and stuff, and that's where you would often find these maps that would float to the top in the community, and then you would do a video showing, hey, look, I downloaded this, and actually it's really cool because, and then suddenly you'd have an effect on that map's popularity because people would see it and be like, this looks insane, someone made this, and boom, they would go off and download it and all sorts of stuff. That's kind of cool. That's why we love Forge. It's just, and I guess that's probably why Minecraft appeals to you, right? It's creativity, it's imagination, it's making your own game within the game.
You can do what you want, and like, I don't know, I find that to be exciting. I get, my attention span is fairly small, and so when I know there's something new, always, whenever, right? Like it's great. Like recently, I've been going on a website called Planet Minecraft, which is kind of similar to Forge Hub. You can like see what other people have built and stuff, and download it and check it out. And like, people obviously make some insane stuff, right? Like, someone's got like a 1-to-1 remake of like a country on there, right? Like a scale remake of it. So I like that stuff a lot, and that's what's appealing to me about Minecraft. And then again, like I said earlier, when you start factoring in mods, like someone made this Parasite mod that I just checked out today. That's like, it baffles me what this, like how crazy this mod is. And I've only played maybe like 20 minutes of it, but like I'm blown away by what it does and how it works and stuff. And I don't know, it's cool. I love that stuff so much. It's to me, it's what like a game should be. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like there's a joy to you taking the game and ignoring all of the content they shipped with. Because I mean, look at zombies in Halo 3. It exists because the community played zombies with honor rules in Halo 2, right? And when you do that, that's why you get evolution on this stuff. So if they've seen anything that's come out of Halo 5, God, I can't imagine what Forging Infinite's going to be like. It's we can hope. But yeah, it's a cool thing. You should definitely give it a try when it gets revealed in Infinite and you get a chance later on this year. I'll show you around. We'll hopefully show the ropes together. What's next?
Okay, Twitter.
Oh,
yeah, onto Twitter. That was Twitterverse. It for Patreon. We're onto Twitter. Okay, at Malik Labs. We kind of spoke about this a little bit and have mentioned it before. What do you guys think of Xbox and Kojima working together? Would that be Xbox's third-person action-adventure cinematic game? Also, what are your predictions for Xbox Global Publishing? More smaller games like Scorn and Medium, or are you expecting bigger AAA games? We kind of talked about the Kojima thing.
Yeah, it'll be. I think if it's going to happen, it'll be a horror game. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be funny if it was Silent Hill in partnership with Konami and Microsoft? Wouldn't you not crack up at that as a thing after all the rumors?
I have never played a Silent Hill game. I hear they're pretty good. Never played it before, but the salt would be worth it. As to global publishing, I don't know. I'm guessing it'll be a mixture of big and small stuff, but I don't know anything, but my guess is there'll be a mixture of big and small.
Yeah, there's some job postings and listings out there for some companies. I think Clobril on Twitter posted a few bits and pieces, but very quiet on the global publishing front.
Yeah, very.
Roll on Microsoft's standard June is when we'll talk, and not a minute before. It's just what it is, I
would have thought 2020 would have taught them otherwise, but anyway.
Never mind.
They seem to learn. At JSing10J, will Microsoft? I like this question. Will Microsoft ever consider a Doom Halo crossover in the vein of Superman versus Batman? And then he's got Superman, Doomslayer, Batman, Master Chief. Wouldn't that be the other way around? Wouldn't the Chief be Superman and the Doomslayer be Batman? Anyway, I reckon a first-person shooter where the Demon Slayer and Chief are there together would be amazing. I don't know what you call it. Would it be a Doom game or would it be a Halo game?
Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. Is it a Doom or a Halo game? Yeah. Or neither? Is it just its own thing where the two of them are in there and it's a co-op game?
I don't know, man. Like
the most I can see is skins, but
yeah, like I could see some Doomslayer skins in Halo Infinite, right? That would be pretty cool with the whole armor coding thing that they revealed. But I couldn't see a game. I mean, if you're going to have a mascot game on a Microsoft front using Microsoft-owned IPs, it's got to be Killer Instinct. I'd love to see Master Chief and Doomslayer in that. With their own unique movesets that pay attention to their in-game universes.
We've got a Spartan in Dead or Alive.
We've got a Spartan in Dead or Alive.
Isn't the Arbiter in Killer Instinct?
Yeah, we got Arbiter in Killer Instinct and General Ram.
Yeah.
In here as well.
But hold on. Doom takes place in a universe where Earth exists, yes?
Yeah.
As does Halo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there a reason that they couldn't be in a game together, narratively speaking?
I just don't see Halo ever going that route.
Yeah.
Even with a wink in its eye, I just don't see it.
But it doesn't have to be a Halo game, and it doesn't have to be a Doom game. It can be its own thing.
I just don't. I just don't think that the gameplay styles. I don't know. Hey, if a game designer out there can make it work, go nuts. I'll probably play it. But it's weird when I played Doom Eternal. I actually thought it felt a lot like Halo 5. Like it had lots of jumping and clambering and boosting, and I was like,
"See, there you go."
Why did everyone shit on Halo 5 so much? Like it loved Doom Eternal. I'm like, Doom Eternal was pretty good though. It was flawless to play.
I still haven't played it. I'm waiting for the Series X update. I bought it specifically for that, and I'm still waiting.
I feel too old to play Doom Eternal. Like I can't keep up anymore. It scares me, man, when I think about Halo Infinite dropping. It's like, yes, sorry, you're in the wrong side of 30 now.
What do you mean? I'm about to be on the wrong side of 40.
Yeah. No wonder you're still playing
What are you
SWAT.
talking about? Okay. At Sean_Mags. Many content creators struggle when evolving their content. How did you, I assume he's talking to you, Forge, how did you make the decision to go from strictly Halo to branching out into a variety of content? Did we kind of talk about that?
Yeah, I talked about that a little bit. Basically, I wanted to make it so that I could make a living off of it, and I did the math on it, and there was just no way that like I could do that with just making Halo videos.
Just Halo.
So, yeah, and there was always other stuff I wanted to do too, and I just finally took the plunge. It was hard. It's difficult though because like the Halo audience is, I've said this before, but they're like notoriously unhappy. Yes. With people who make Halo videos and then decide to switch to something else. They're very unsupportive about that. Like it's difficult to do just Halo and then do something different. Fortunately, because of Forge, I had a little bit of help because I went to Far Cry first and started showing Far Cry maps. And there's a bit of an overlap because I had an audience who was interested in Forge.
Yeah.
And then for them to see Far Cry maps, not that big of a jump because they, and then I built an audience with Far Cry people a little bit, and the Far Cry audience was more accepting when it comes to making video essays. So it kind of incremental steps, and I got there that way. But it was tough. It took 2 years before I saw like any sort of equalization with where I was with Halo.
Yeah. Are you worried?
2 years.
In November, like presuming of course Infinite drops, you want to play it a bunch, you want to make a load of maps, you want to play other people's, are you worried that then your Minecraft audience will be like, what's this? Like do you worry about that in the back of your mind? You're gonna have to juggle it a little bit to try and
I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. I like
because I'm presuming you're gonna do it, but like
I don't know, like it's tough because I don't know what my plan is totally for that yet. I don't think I'll probably go back to doing map showcases. I think that will be done, at least on the Forge Labs channel. I made a second channel called Halo Labs, which maybe if I have time, I might do something like that there. I don't know yet.
That makes sense.
But at the very least, I can definitely foresee myself like playing like fun maps and stuff like that, and like just playing custom games and like doing videos in that regard. I do want to right now. I'm trying to be cautious. Like I'm getting a lot of growth with Minecraft on my channel, like a lot. And
yeah, I saw.
I'm cautious about it. I'm obviously happy for it, but being in the situation where I was stuck with just Halo for so long, I don't want to put myself in the same position again.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to like do other stuff, as well as Minecraft. And so I think over the next couple of months, I'm going to try to do. Like I've done that throughout this whole growth spurt. I've been uploading other like stuff, like other games and whatnot. But I'm gonna try to lean more heavily into it going forward, and then see how it goes. Right? Like hopefully there's receptive to it. Again, I'm still gonna always play what I want and do what I want. But we'll see how it goes. Ideally, I'd like to be able to do some stuff with Infinite when it comes out and play some maps and whatnot. I probably will because it's gonna be drawing my attention in a lot, and I'm gonna want to. So
you've got to be able to do what you want to do, right? So it's just it's probably a difficult one to juggle because when you've got an audience you build up, they then have expectations of you as a creator. You feel like you should honor them, and it's a difficult snowball to try and unravel from. So
the thing I'm hopeful for is though, with all this, I've learned a lot when it comes to making content, and like when I first started doing Halo stuff, people were watching for the maps and they weren't watching for me. Like that's what it came down to. It's like I want to subscribe to this guy so that I can just get a ping whenever a cool map comes out, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it was. And I noticed my audience retention on Forge videos, even if they're like 15 minutes long, was like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes long, 3 minutes at most, right? So people were really just watching for the maps. They weren't really watching for me. And so of course it's difficult to like transition. However, with Minecraft, my audience retention is much higher now. Sometimes it's upwards of like 30 minutes on average per video.
Wow.
And so it leads me, or at least I would hope, that people are watching more for personality rather than like, because people have seen a million people play Minecraft before, right? So my goal, at least with this new growth, is to have people watching for me rather than Minecraft, and that would hopefully allow me more freedom with like other videos and stuff like that. Freedom enough to see a big enough return on them that I can continue to do that, like, and still make a living off of it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And yeah, I hopefully, that personality bit comes across and you can bring them with you. And yeah, hey, if Halo Infinite is a big moment and it does get a lot of media, applause and credit and all of that jazz, and it's everything 343 hopes it is, there's no reason to think that it wouldn't make a big enough splash that everyone would want to watch it all the time anyway. So
exactly.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, people who watch
Play Rocket League with me.
I'm so bad at that game. I'm so bad at it.
Oh dear.
It's so good.
Good question.
Okay. Another question for Sean. At Captain Direwolf, will he make a 100 days playing Halo series?
I don't think so.
Right.
Too much.
100 days of playing Halo.
Yeah.
I tried
There's
24 hours in a sprint once. Like, I went mad after about 18 hours. It was during the Bungie versus the World playlist. I lost my mind.
Yeah, it's a lot. You know what? I probably have 100 days played on Halo 5. You like total up my time.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
definitely, probably, easily. If it counts forging time.
Yeah, I probably have something horrific like a year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not ashamed to admit, my last year of my old job, like, I didn't really have to do much work, or at least nowhere near the amount that I should have been doing. And man, I used to play games so often. It was bad.
Yeah, I was doing that too. I pulled some shady shit with my when I was working in that marketing. I don't know if I should say this. Like, I guess it doesn't matter. I'm not going to work there ever again, so I can reveal this. But I used to. I don't know if I should say this. I feel like I'm really crippling my ability. Well, whatever. I'm in the video game industry now. I used to bring my Xbox to work in a backpack. I purposely chose the end office. I'd come in 2 hours early because I knew my boss came in at 10 a.m. So I'd show up at 8 a.m. on purpose. And I timed the amount of time it took from the main door of the office to open because there was a security beep. And I think it was like 42 seconds or something like that. It took him to walk from the main door to my office, which was enough time for me to pull the HDMI cable out of my monitor, pull the backpack close, and slide the Xbox underneath my desk. So for the first 2 hours of every day for 6 months, I played Xbox at my job, and no one ever knew.
If I had a hat to tip to you, I would be doffing it. Like, that's some shady shit.
Jobs I ever had.
Yeah, it was sweet. Like, I did it, but the thing is I still got all my work done with them. I still got all the assignments I had done and everything. Just a little extra time for me to play Xbox,
Yeah, so. That's very similar. Like, I did all the work I was supposed to do. I just don't think I was just like, I'm efficient. I'd usually smash it all out, especially if I was working from home. I'd smash it all out in like 2 or 3 hours. And if I had an empty calendar, well, I'm at home.
Yeah.
But I mean,
exactly.
My new employers will be pleased to know they keep me far too busy to be able to do that at all.
Yeah, and my previous employer, it wasn't you. It was a different job I was at. So don't worry if you think it was you. Don't come after me for time theft or anything. It was a different guy.
That sounds so much like something I used to do. One of the first jobs I ever had was at a service station. And I just used to bring either my Nintendo 64 or my Dreamcast and hook it up to the security camera and just play on the TV.
Nice.
And some people would come in and go, "Oh, is that like Shenmue? Is that, Mario Kart? Is that?" I'm like, yeah. Come on, look.
Yeah. Middle of the night.
When I was a young, dumb kid. Okay. Jay Singh's got another one. When's the Zenimax deal closing? Early March or end of March? It'll probably be sometime in March.
I have a feeling it's going to be this week-ish. But we don't know.
We don't know. I know the EU is done. I think that was the deadline, wasn't it? The 5th, the EU?
Yep.
But I don't know if the EU was the last hurdle.
Well,
wouldn't Japan be involved too because of Tango?
The provisional agreement for the EU was the 5th, but I don't think they updated the page, even though, according to the US side, the money's transferred, which would suggest it's
basically
complete.
Done.
So I guess we'll find out Monday and beyond. But if you see a flurry of, Aaron Greenbergs and the like online uncharacteristically early, which I noticed on the day of the Bethesda announce, then you'll probably see something come out of it, but we'll see.
Okay, last Twitter question, and this is the one I was referring to earlier for Sean. At Duquesne23. What type of... What, is that...
We know who Duquesne is.
Yeah, we know him.
Right. Okay, so I apologize. I don't know Duquesne, but I just have had a hover over his account. Map maker. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
What type of fences does Sean want to see in Infinite's Forge?
Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
See,
Yeah.
We've already beaten him to it.
Yeah.
We've talked about
Chain
fences.
link, baby. Chain link.
Do you know what? That's
Need
what we
those.
should
There was
have
a
had as the
reply,
art.
someone being a smartass about chain link fences. So
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the whole chain link fence thing. I'm like, I don't get it. So like I uploaded a video that was a joke about chain link fences, right? Like it was very specific. I thought I made it pretty clear that it was a joke. And then I guess some people thought that it was a serious video, or that like I was like, I don't know. I do want chain link fences in the game, right? And so like I had made all these Forge request videos before. So I'm like, okay, what if I just requested one thing and went like over the top about it, right? But still want it, right? And then a bunch of people, I don't know, they flipped it on me, I guess. But like, I do want them, and it's a great piece. I think it has a lot of use. So think about the fence in Halo 3, or the whatever it was, the like grate piece, or
Yeah, the grate in Halo 5. I used to use the shop grate.
yeah. There's so
good
many
for,
those
like-
pieces.
Yeah.
They're great pieces. So like, I don't know, chain link fence would be great, but
That's what we should have had as the art of this episode in the background. Instead of Minecraft, we should have just had a chain link fence. It would have sealed
Yeah.
the joke right there.
yeah.
But
I'm telling you, if that
I
goes in
I
Forge,
told you to suggest something.
I know. Hindsight is king. Jolly good. Have we got any on our forum this week?
We do.
Oh,
we do,
okay.
We do. Not. We've got
Not
a
too
few.
many. I think we're down to the last few.
Yeah. Okay. Apache. Since I have nothing creative to ask this week, anything new about Everwild? Maybe you have heard something new about the game, how it plays, the structure, the animals. I adore Sea of Thieves, and I hope Rare creates something unique with Everwild. Everwild is without a doubt one of my most anticipated games. Anyways, have a great weekend, lads. Sorry, mate, haven't heard anything. Haven't heard a thing.
The only thing I can offer is it was Louise O'Connor's 20th year at Rare. She celebrated her anniversary this week, and someone said in her Twitter comments, "Oh, when are we going to hear more about what this actually is?" And she did say something along the lines of, "We know it's frustrating to wait. We can't wait to share more soon. We're busy building right now." So maybe we'll see some more this year. We can only hope.
It'll be a good game, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I have to ask quickly, you need to play Sea of Thieves on your channel, Sean, because
Yeah.
I think if you got a bunch of your regular crew and just went in blind
yeah.
and did the tall tales, I think you would have a jolly good time. And
We were talking about that recently. I was playing with a bunch of my real life friends who they've never played it too. They're like, "Have you heard of Sea of Thieves?" I'm like, "Of course I've heard of Sea of Thieves. You've heard of Sea of Thieves too. What do you mean have I heard of Sea of Thieves?" And we're like talking about what we should play. I'm like, "Why don't we play it? We all have Game Pass. Let's check that out." But this was right when we were starting Valheim, so it's popped up. And then I was streaming, or I was doing something recently, and people were commenting, asking me to check it out. So I do need to. I think I might stream it sometime soon or do something with it, because there is it definitely keeps popping up on my radar. People keep
it's such a great game. Like I know Nick doesn't like it. He thinks it's a bit of a snooze fest. But if you've got a good group of friends that can have a laugh at each other, you can troll throughout to each other, like bombing each other off the boat and all these things. But it's what happens when you're playing, especially if you're brand new and you don't know all the ins and outs of the world. It's an experience like no other, man. Like, I cannot big it up enough. It's my favourite thing out of this generation.
It's not that I think it's a snooze fest. I was actually looking forward to Sea of Thieves being like a chill out game for me. My problem with Sea of Thieves is the way it plays. Maybe it's because I'm old and I grew up playing arcade games, but how a game feels to me is like number one. It is the key. If your game feels good to play, I'll overlook a lot of problems, if there are a lot of problems. But Sea of Thieves just, I don't know, didn't feel good to me.
I agree. It didn't feel good at 30 FPS. At 60, chef's kiss. The combat's still a bit crappy, but
I was about to say, did it make the
else,
combat any better?
Everything else about the game is just... It's just pure imagination. I love it. It's my favourite thing that Microsoft have made in a long, long time. Hey ho.
It would have been nice if it felt better. Anyway, Delroy, I'd say this is for Sean. For a beginner, what are the best tools to use to capture, edit video from consoles, PC? I've heard of OBS and others, but I'm not sure what to make of it all.
I'm always changing. I use whatever's working for me that day. All these programs tend to break a lot. So I personally right now use OBS to record up my screen, and I use Premiere Pro to edit. And that's kind of, OBS is good because it's free. Premiere Pro is not free, but there's free alternatives. Like DaVinci Resolve is a good editor. I've heard that it rivals Premiere Pro, and it's free. There's a paid version, but the paid features apparently are like more professional type things. So it allows like just regular people who aren't really doing it for, I don't know, you're not working on a real movie or TV show or something like that, to pick it up and like edit your gameplay stuff or whatever. And then like the Elgato stuff, if you're captured. Actually, see, I'm torn on this. For the last little while, because I didn't have a functioning capture card, I was just using the Xbox's built-in capture stuff and recording right to a hard drive, and no one knew. I was told so long that it was like the quality of it was bad and like it has a low bit rate and like you can't use it. But I was doing it and no one had a clue. Like I don't know. There's ton. It's easier now than ever to start recording stuff and edit it and get some videos up. Like there's so many things that are like developed for people specifically to start doing this. So yeah, you don't really need too much, honestly. You really don't. You just need like a decent microphone, some basic video editing, and if you have a console and a hard drive, you can, like an external hard drive, you can already get going on that. Even if you're just recording like 2-minute clips, you can just throw it right up on like OneDrive or whatever and get them that way.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, it's so much easier now than it used to be. Like when I first started, it was one of the most complicated things ever, but it's easier than ever. And yeah, just anything that's free, and focus more on telling a good story and having fun than equipment.
Yeah,
it's kind of a point of debate, but like I'm definitely in that boat of, if I always find personally, if I'm recording something and I'm having fun, chances are the video is gonna be good. Like that's kind of how I've been operating with it, and like I think that's the best way of doing it. If you just focus on making like having fun and making a good video over like getting the best stuff you can get, and you should be good to go.
Yeah, I think this is a 50 quid microphone, or $50 in the US. I'm using a standard C920 Logitech webcam. I think they're about 50 quid nowadays.
Yeah.
I use Sony Vegas 17 for editing. But I use OBS and do all the capturing. This podcast is captured in OBS. A lot of it is free. A lot of our guys use DaVinci Resolve, and that was recent. People said, "Oh, how do you edit on Vegas? Can you show me?" I did a quick video guide, but then a bunch of folks jumped on the Resolve bandwagon and are learning that route. I tried it. I was like, fair change, and just walked away in terror.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like if you look at what we do on our channel, we're lucky that we've got Predrag, who is a really fantastic graphic designer. He elevates all of our content to look way better than it should, because we're not doing anything fancy. Anyone that's doing a video review, I might narrate it and I might edit the footage, but they're just using capture cards like on Xbox to pull the footage, and we just put it together. So I'd argue it's probably easier now to do it than it was 10 years ago. Without a doubt. Like I've always wanted to do something like XboxEra, but I just didn't have the time and the money and everything else. And now everything's become so cheap, it's a no-brainer. So yeah, jump in if you're feeling like you want to make stuff, make it and do it when it's fun. I think it's good advice.
Very similar question. Beast Mode 10. These questions are mostly about the logistics of being a content creator. What is the overall hardware setup like? What capture card, mic, computer hardware do you use? Do you try recording gameplay in 4K at all, as the video creation times are ridiculous? Number of editing hours required for 30 minutes of content. What is the average prep time before a video shoot?
Blimey.
Do you believe in green screens or a natural background is the best setup? Is there an archival strategy, or do you dump everything to YouTube and delete the originals?
Cool. That's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Just say yes.
I'm bad, is what I'll say. I'm not I I I would guess I probably don't do stuff like most people do. My whole philosophy with video making, video editing, content creation, all that stuff is simple. Just make it as simple as possible, right? Like I I used to try to go for flashy and like all this stuff and
Mm.
like but now I don't. Like I could record my videos in 4K. I could do all that. I choose not to because number one, I think it's like a lot of extra work. It's much more strenuous on the computer. Uh, I already have a logistical nightmare with my editor getting all my footage because when I record a video, it's typically like 20 30 hours worth of footage, and if I'm recording that, like it's we get to like 800 900 gigabytes to send someone 800 900 gigabytes who lives in the UK. It's not the easiest thing to do. So there's like a lot of challenges. I for one just try to keep it as simple as possible. I have a green screen. I have yet to find a use for it for my like videos because I'm not typically on camera in my videos, so I have to find a way. I'm going to start streaming soon. I might use that. When I do, I can see like good uses for that. Like so in terms of like recording, when I'm done with a project file, I delete it immediately because it's like normally 2 terabytes on my hard drive, and I just can't. I just recently bought an extra hard drive so that I could work on 2 projects at once, so that's good. Um, yeah, there's no like I don't know. I get it's kind of I don't do stuff typically like other people. I know people archive stuff. I know people like keep their old footage and stuff. I don't because number one, I think it's expensive. Well, it is expensive because you have to constantly like buy hard drives and stuff like that. It gives me anxiety to have that much stuff, like have stuff sitting around and then like having to find it. And I'm messy both in terms of like real life and on the way I keep my computer. I just have folders all over the place and I would lose stuff. So uh, I don't, and I record at the lowest quality that I can that looks good still. So I play in like I think 1440 or whatever, but I record in 1080p. I do think in terms of presentation, like I put like ray tracing on my Minecraft just because it looks
It
nice.
does look amazing.
Yeah. So I do that because I know that the viewers appreciate it. But I just try to keep things as simple as possible. And um, I've learned that's the best way with my scripts, with my editing, with like the way I go about doing stuff. I try to keep it as simple as possible and not overthink stuff, not overdo stuff. And normally when I do that, it ends up being a bit better, I think, at least.
Good advice. There you go. How to become a YouTube superstar in 27 easy steps.
I will say though, to Beast Mode's question, I do like the camera you're using right now.
Yeah,
you said that was the Sony A7.
A7S3. If you're gonna get a camera for a webcam, I don't recommend this one. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
We bought it.
I was about to say it would be like I'm pretty sure. Like okay, while you were talking, I just Googled the Sony A7S3. You want to know how much it is in Australia?
How much?
$5.5 grand.
Yes. Yeah. I bought it this week.
Worth it.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I bought it so my girlfriend and I also do real estate photography and videography. So we go and film houses and take photos of them and stuff. So I use the camera for both YouTube as well as that as well, right? So I primarily bought it for YouTube. But I also use it for that. So I was like, okay, if we're gonna use it to film stuff, I'm gonna like spend a little bit of extra money on it. It also has some features that I find to be useful. Like my old camera had a recording limit on it, so I could only record for 30 minutes at a time. This one doesn't. This one doesn't overheat. So if I'm doing VR stuff, I have a headset on for 2 hours. I don't have to worry about it. I can just stick it in the corner. It's gonna keep rolling. So there's certain like quality of life things that you can upgrade to, and the bigger my channel gets, I'm able to like upgrade some of these things, right? Like my microphone I upgraded last year, the camera I upgraded recently. Like, you know, there's certain things that you can do, but I don't necessarily think you need these at all. I mean, I used a Blue Yeti for 10 years, and then only after that upgraded to this, which I only upgraded this microphone because my Blue Yeti broke and I wanted something else. I wanted to switch to XLR, and I went for this one, right? So I probably wouldn't have bought this one if my Yeti didn't break. And there's a lot of guys, and there's different, like, you can get a camera that will look like this one You'll have like the shallow depth of field in the back. It'll be nice and well lit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think for much cheaper. You can probably get one for like $400 that will look pretty
That's what
similar.
I want. I'm
Yeah.
after that look.
Yeah,
that is what I'm
same. I hate my webcam now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my Surface one is okay for a built-in webcam,
Yeah.
but I'd like something that has that
The shallow
field
depth
type.
of field and like the
Yeah,
ability
yeah.
to zoom and stuff. Yeah, you can get like if you have the Elgato Cam Link, which I think is a good investment, plus like one of the entry level Sony cameras, you can get this look no problem. Like they make it really easy to do it. So it's you don't need to spend $5,000 on a camera to do it.
So expensive here.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
Australian dollars, man. What a joke.
Oh, mate.
What a joke
We
they
cop
are.
it down here. We cop it so hard down here. Okay. Apache's got another one. Since the latest state, it's not too much more. Since the latest state of play, we know a PS5 patch for Final Fantasy VII will come in June. What I found odd was there was no mention of exclusivity in regards to the version, just that it will be a free upgrade. Now I know you did mention to believe. It won't come to Xbox. Now my assumption is that Square literally is not allowed to mention any other platforms until April 7, and I wonder if there is a chance for an Xbox version. Shpeshal Ed, unless you haven't heard anything, of course. I trust your source. Like I said this on the forum, and I've said it, I think, in the Discord as well. Last I heard, I was told in July of last year that an Xbox version of Final Fantasy VII is highly unlikely to happen. That's all I got told. It's not guaranteed. It's just highly unlikely.
There you
It is
go.
what it is. That's it. That's all I got told. Nothing more than that. Liam S. 2 questions from me. The first being for Sean. How do you decide what the next video you're working on will be? Do you have a backlog of video ideas that you choose from? Or do you come up with an idea on a per video basis?
It changes from video to video. I do have a backlog of video ideas. I have like a notes thing on my phone that every time I think of something, I write it down on my phone.
Good
But
idea.
I often never look back at the notes, and I probably have several hundred right now. I get really excited about an idea for about 2 days, and then if I don't make it within those 2 days, I move on. I only make about 1 to 2 videos a month right now, so I'm very selective with what I'm gonna like put my time into because they just all take so long to make. And I have a hard time coming up with ideas. That's something I'm struggling with right now. Like an idea that I can turn into a full-fledged video. I have fragments of ideas that sometimes I can expand into a full video, but I do struggle with stuff because I can come up like, oh, that'd be fun to do a video about that, but like, okay, how would that look in a video? Am I going to be able to get like a beginning, middle, end out of that? Am I going to be able to like, is that interesting to watch? Are people like, there's all these different like layers to it, and if I have like a kind of a mental checklist, and if I don't check all the boxes on it, if an idea doesn't check all the boxes, I don't go forward with it. And so it's tough. I just try to. I normally have 1 or 2 ideas that I'm pretty sure on, and then as I'm working on them, the next one normally comes. But like right now, I'm scared because I'm out of ideas right now. And
Sea Thieves.
yeah,
No. I think the people want to see you and I play Rocket League together.
I'm told you I'm really bad at it. I'm terrible.
So's Nick.
But that's part of the magic.
Yeah.
So I will be the experienced Rocket League player, bringing you on your journey to becoming a great Rocket League player.
Oh, man. I still want to see Sea of Thieves. I think that would be amusing to watch your reaction to some of the moments in that.
Yeah. That's the thing too. I really want to try live streaming because a lot of these ideas I have, I don't know if I could turn them into full videos, but like they're perfect for a live stream because I can just experience something and play it and like see how people react to it, right? Like I did that with Cyberpunk. I didn't feel like I was going to make a video on Cyberpunk because I just felt like everyone would be doing the same video, and I don't know. So I just streamed it, and I don't know, I played it for a couple hours on the stream. People seemed to have fun. And it went pretty well. So like there's stuff like that like I'm bad at live streaming. I don't feel like I'm entertaining when I'm live, and I like feel stressed out the whole time I'm streaming.
Yeah.
I always feel like, I don't know, something someone's gonna like see something on my computer that's gonna like tell them where I live or something like that, or like my phone's gonna flash and someone's gonna like figure out where I
Well,
live. Like, I
That's
get really worried about that stuff.
that's
So
the other side of it, though, man. Like the internet
Mm.
is scary because people are
Yeah.
weird and they take stuff too far.
Yep.
It's an odd one, but it's very, very true. I think it's a
Yeah.
fair concern to have.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the thing too. Like the bigger my channel gets, the more likely things like that are to happen. And I don't know. I've seen it happen so much to so many other people, and I've always thought, man, like, oh God, I'm glad that's not me. That's horrible, right? Like, why do people do stuff like that to other people? And it happens on a daily basis. And now I'm in a position where it could happen to me. And so I'm just cautious. And like, I don't know, when you're live streaming, there's a lot of unpredictability to it, right?
Yeah.
And
You're not in control of every element of what's on screen.
yeah, and it's not so much that like I need to be like, oh, this image of me needs to go out there. It's more like, I don't know, like something could happen, and I'm just on guard the whole time I'm on, and so I don't like dealing like that. So I got to get better at streaming, I guess, and be more comfortable with it. But
Make a safe room and then build everything in it.
Yeah,
with a lock.
I'm just really protective over my privacy, so I want to, try to make. That's another reason why like I'm cautious to put my face. I occasionally will show my face and stuff, but it's not in every video by any means, right? And it's kind of like a door that I don't know if I want to like open up just yet, right? So
that's okay. No one watches this podcast.
No, it's not so much that. It's that like I don't like my main series of videos. I don't put my face in it, but I have plenty of videos on my channel with my face in it, right? Some of them have like 1 million+ views, right? Like I did the VR Minecraft one. That I'm on camera quite extensively, right? And it's got, I don't know, I think that video has like 8 or 9 million views on it. And so like my face is out there. My Twitter profile is my face, right? Like people can see it, but I don't constantly present it because I don't want to go down that, it's just a door you can't close once you open it, right? So I'm just cautious with that sort of stuff.
Oh, don't worry. I get it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
Liam has another question. This is for the panel more generally. Again, jeez.
If it's about Bethesda or
he's
exclusives,
called Forge and we're just panel.
That's right. I just changed our names.
During an interview in 2019 with several people from Rare, they all said that they don't want Rare to become a massive 500+ person studio and that they are happy with where they are at size-wise, 250 to 300-ish. If Rare keep making these big ongoing service games with Sea of Thieves, and from what we know, Everwild's not a service game. Something has to give, making them expand their headcount substantially. Do you foresee Rare continuing to make these ongoing live service games after Everwild, or do you think they might make smaller single-player games in the future? By the way, this isn't a veiled, are they working on Banjo yet question. I always look forward to the podcast. Keep up the great work. I don't think Everwild's a service game, for a start.
I don't know if it's a service game, but I do know that it's got multiplayer elements, so you've got to...
Oh, yeah, like
you've got to expect longevity and additional content at some point, but...
Yeah, but I don't think it's a service game in the
like
same way Sea of Thieves is, or, I don't know, Diablo or whatever.
No.
It's not a service game.
I don't know enough about Everwild yet to really make a call, but Sea of Thieves has got its biggest team it's ever had since launch. So, yeah, I see the potential for further growth, but it really depends on what's coming next for the game, because now they've rolled out seasons, there's lots of regular things to do, but I don't think there's new content there yet for those that have been playing for the last 2-3 years or whatever it's been.
Rare has always said they will do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Regardless of what that is. Like, I know people don't believe them, but they actually said they wanted to do Connect games.
Yep.
That's what they said publicly.
They were the best Connect games.
They were. They probably were. Connect Sports was like a legit good game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think they'll just keep doing whatever they want to do. I don't think they'll make Banjo.
No.
I want someone to make Banjo, but I don't think they'll make Banjo. Next question. Now, apparently this is pronounced Crazy Spaz. Hello, guys. Because I had trouble pronouncing the name, and he is saying that my name is pronounced Crazy Spaz. My question is, what games could you see really take off with the Forge formula? whether that be for game maps, modes, or even further. An obvious pick would be Gears, and they've kind of dabbled with Escape, but I think it'd be cool to see this in multiplayer matches. Another one that could possibly benefit from something like this is Dishonored. We already know there's a hardcore following for those games, and it would be exciting for fans to make custom levels that could go for a variety of things: speedruns, combat, certain combat, etc. Yeah, that's the question.
What games could have a mode like Forge?
Yeah, could you see take off with the Forge formula?
Yeah, I since the moment I played Fall Guys, is like, this game needs a map editor. That's a huge one that would and it's so it's modular too, right? So you could like just pick up like slides, put them down, like traps and stuff like that.
That's a good shout.
And because it's one of those games that I played when it came out, I got bored of it pretty quickly because it's like, oh cool, let's do the slime mountain for the 55th time, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, what if I could make my own little contest and stuff like that, right? And then they could just like pick like whichever level they think is good for that week and make it like, I don't know. I thought that one would do really well because that game was one of those like, it's huge, and then because people got bored of it.
Splash, and then it's not on Xbox yet, and I have to admit I didn't bother playing the PC version because I was like, it'll come to Xbox and it'll probably come to Game Pass. But they just got bought by Epic, right? So maybe now with the additional funding, they can push that game to do something of that nature. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, that one would be a huge one, I think. That one would benefit huge. I've always wanted a Call of Duty level editor too, but I don't know.
Activision can't charge you $30 a pop for a level.
That's right.
If you make them yourself, come on.
Unless they put a marketplace in there.
Yeah, God, can you imagine? I don't know. That's such an interesting question. Like
it is
from a first party perspective. Like, man, what could I? I'd have to really give that.
People make their own island.
Yeah, I suppose. I'd love to. That's a good shout, actually. I'd love to be able to make my own hideout that I could populate in my little corner of the map, and that's where I'd always launch my ship from, in my server. That would be cool.
Even though I hate Sea of Thieves, look at that.
You're thinking on your feet. I like it.
Yeah. Okay, this is actually the last question. From Ruthwick Rao. Now that the whole FromSoft making Xbox exclusive rumor is put to bed, what do you think of the possibility of any of the previous or even future From games dropping into Game Pass? Dark Souls, Sekiro, Elden Ring, whatever. Do you see a possibility of day one or close to release Game Pass for Elden Ring? In general, does the Sekiro case on the shelf signify anything? Well, Jeff Grubb said that the shelf stuff is significant, so there's a Sekiro limited edition thing right next to the Watch Dogs thing, so they ain't buying From. So why else is that there? I don't know. Maybe Sekiro is coming to Game Pass.
That would be the first time an Activision published game.
Yes. If Sekiro were to come to Game Pass, it would be the first Activision game. Oh. And if that does happen, is there a deal there with Activision and other games will come? It certainly wouldn't be COD because COD's got PlayStation marketing. But does that mean other Activision? I mean, how much does Activision even have? What do they got? Crash?
Yeah.
Tony Hawk?
Yeah.
That's it.
Diablo.
Diablo. This is Diablo.
So there's not a lot that could come to Game Pass. It's like
Overwatch.
Games.
Yeah, Overwatch.
Oh yeah, Overwatch. But Overwatch. Maybe that needs to go free to play though.
I think Overwatch 2 is a thing, isn't it? So
yeah,
it's a thing. But yeah, I mean, it could be a clue, Ruthwick. It could be. I don't know. It could be. But that's it.
Cool.
That was the last question.
So it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us for this episode, Sean. Thank you very much for spending your free time, which I'm sure is valuable considering how long some of your videos tend to take to make. Do you want to give a quick shout out for your YouTube? I'll put it in the description below anyway, but do you want to give a quick media shout out or a big thank you to anybody before we all sign off?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on here. I appreciate it. It's fun too. I really like getting to do podcasts like this. It's fun to just sit down and chat about games and stuff. I don't get to do it that often, so it's enjoyable.
Hey, we'll have you back when Halo Infinite rolls out and chat about
Awesome.
Forge, perhaps.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, a quick shout out. I want to say thank you to my editor for editing all my videos. Wisefish, he's got a YouTube channel. He does he makes some really great videos on there. He does essays and reviews for games and stuff like that. He's a really talented guy. Then of course, all my buddies that show up in all my videos, my friend Unsorted Guy and Comedy Aerosol and stuff. They're friends I met on Halo, but they support me a ton. And then of course my channel, which is Forge Labs, if you want to check that out. Mostly Minecraft right now, but it's if you're interested in user created stuff, it's more of a I put a twist on everything I do with Minecraft. There's a twist on it, so it's never just standard Minecraft. There's always something different about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, well, I'll make sure I stick those links in the description below. As always, we'll be back I'm not sure when we're going to make this dreaded switch to weekly. It's coming, isn't it? It feels like it's coming. We'll find a way. If the Bethesda news drops next week, perhaps there'll be a need for an earlier than usually scheduled emergency podcast session. But from us until then, thank you very much for watching. As always, if you're new, feel free to subscribe, and all of that fun stuff. Ring the notification bell so you can be notified when we drop some fresh content. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for...
Ciao for now.